Oh, hi there. Got my tea. I'm ready for another attempt at a WSL watch party. Sometimes these have been hit or miss. Sometimes the games start, sometimes they don't. There is a scheduled game today for Poland, I believe, versus Great Britain. Let's take a look at this list here. Change my scene. Pagny in Division B here for Poland versus Kevin TB74 from Great Britain. Neither of them are logged in. The game is not offered, and we're 5 minutes away from the anticipated start. But so we'll see. You always take it with a grain of salt. Otherwise, we'll chat. I'll play some 10-second games, and we'll see what happens. One thing that's mildly concerning, this feels potentially somewhat related to the 81 Dojo, the long 81 Dojo outage, which is that if I open this link to the game, to any of these games, like to the web system, it's coming up blank. These are all coming up blank. So this is where scheduling would take place. This is where rescheduling would take place. So it's possible these guys are trying to reschedule, or it's possible something's going on. I don't know. But any of these links are, for me anyway, not functional. So, there's that. But otherwise, hopefully we get the game. There's still time. Even the games that start seem to often start 10 to 15 minutes late. Not the end of the world, but we should see. There's also been some news on the Hikaku front. The site that I played on the other day, the new Shogi site, like I mentioned on stream when I was describing the site. It seems like they are in full development mode. They're really trying to make it better, and they are. The most recent update, I believe, is handling the end game graph evaluation reviewability of the game, and they've made some really nice changes, and we can look at those later. I took a look briefly and messed around, and it's nice. It's very nice, and there's no reason to believe that it's not going to continue to get nice. So I'm very excited. I'm beyond cautiously optimistic for Hikaku. I am actually excited about Hikaku, and that's good. I'm continuing to enjoy Lee Shogi more than ever, despite the things that I care about not necessarily getting some focus. Like, Pagny is requesting a game. Is this showing up on stream? It is. So we hopefully will get a game today to watch. But like the Lee Shogi sound. Oh, they're both requesting a game. So this is a game of chicken. This is a mental game. Who is going to put down their game and then join the other? They both displayed weakness. Oh no, they're in. Here we go. And Kevin B74 is Sente. Do I not have sound? And has made the first move. Okay, let me switch my scene back to the 81 Dojo full board scene, and doing this. So one thing, just one more about Hikaku is that I'm really liking it a lot. I'm going to do a little research on their bot. Like, their bots were, the bot that I played, the 3Q bot, was so good. I'm going to I'll quickly, maybe after the stream or whatever, look to see what bots they have available. I might do a bot speed run. I'm just so impressed with that game I had. So impressed. Hey, Killer Ducky, the mismatch rating pressure. Yeah, that is steep. The WSL mismatch rating pressure. It's intense. the on the plus side, oh, I was just hearing an alarm. On the plus side for Pogny, I think he's at the bottom. So well, that's not a plus side. You'd rank down. I don't remember. Actually, I think 1600 is now the floor for Tudon. But yeah, you know, for WSL in particular, you have some players. I don't know if this is the case, but you have some players that don't play much or at all on 81 Dojo, except for WSL. So these are rated games. As far as I recall, these are all rated games in WSL. The rare 3060 rated game, which I don't know if it's plus, you know, 1.25% or the 1.25, not percent, the multiplier for that, the 81 Dojo rating formula multiplier, it gets higher as the games get slower, so the games count more. I'm not sure if there's an extra like beyond 1.2 or 1.25, which you get for 1560. Yeah, so it's a serious game, but the thing is, this guy, let's take a look at his. Okay, he had a lot of games played, so it's possible that this is legitimately a 3Q. But I think in WSL we see that a lot, where the players are just, you know, not criminally, but like criminally underrated. So if you're one of those people who is impacted by the pressure, and most of us are, I would say, despite what we like to say, you know, there would be more pressure on the higher rated opponent. Like when I play those SF Shogi online meetups and I'm playing 5 Dons and 4 Dons, there's very little pressure on me. There's very little rating pressure on me. You know, very little. Well, there's no rating pressure on me, I guess I should say, on those games, really, because one, I won't lose many points if I lose. Like I lose 1 point to the US champ. 1 point or less or fewer if I lose. But also, I just like playing those guys. So the rating, like, if I'm giving rating, I'm giving rating to people I like. Oh, you're thinking about streaming Shogi a few times a week again. Oh, cool. What made you oh, you're in a mid-roll 30-second ad. Okay, well, I'll wait to respond. That's weird. That's weird because the stream just started. Okay. Yeah. So I would say it's what made you think about streaming Shogi again? And are you going to do it on Lee Shogi? Ah, grand beginner opening study thing. Oh, you're awesome at that. I still remember when you were the only game in town for a while, at least for me and to my tastes. When you started streaming and you had those text files where you played like, today I'm gonna play all not tornado. Basically Aigakari, whatever that is. What's that called? What is the English for Aigakari? Double wing. Or no, there was another one. There was another static rook, I think, where not windmill. I can't remember the names. But you played a lot of things, and I remember being struck with a few things. One, I really respected the fact that it seemed like you did not care about your rating. So you tracked your rating, but you didn't let your rating get in the way of you playing all sorts of stuff that you weren't good at, which was great. One other thing that struck me is that, you know, you seem to just get these games more intuitively than I do, which I've always thought about you in particular. But I can't remember where else I was going to go. But I really enjoyed when you used to stream like that, and I was not starting out, but effectively, I was starting out as someone trying to improve at Shogi. I wasn't starting out at Shogi. I was starting out as someone trying to improve at Shogi or learn more about Shogi. And your streams were fantastic for that. And, you know, that's something we don't really have anymore. You know, we have my streams, and, you know, I've got 600 or 700 plus videos or whatever on YouTube. You know, if people want to learn Nakabisha, or if people want to learn Urishi no Ryu, they're, you know, or Torizashi, you know, they're like pigs in slop. They've got tons of it to learn, you know, to learn along with my progress. But if you want to learn Aigakari or Bishop Exchange or Fourth File Rook, you're just not going to get that from my channel, unless you just watch enough that you get better at Shogi and you see other people playing that stuff against me. And, you know, right now we thankfully have I Dream of Shogi doing great opening stuff. But, you know, it's not at the extent that you used to do, where you were like, today I'm doing this, tomorrow I'm doing that. Oh, I'm also going to play this game where, you know, I say this as a hater of variants, but so you're like, you're going to play this sub game. Because I think CL Smith 15 or 14 or whatever I think he's CL Smith X now. I don't even know if he's streaming anymore. But where, like, I'm going to track every square that I touch on the board. And you had that graph or that chart where you had all the squares filled in, you know, fun stuff like that you made really interesting. You say some guy was going to make Openings Explorer software. Wonder what happened to that. Yeah, the thing is, you know, Opening Explorer software. Not to diminish the effort of making good quality high end software, but like an Opening Explorer is the easy part. It's all about the data. And the only importance is the data in the end. So, you know, the places that can do this are Lee Shogi to a certain extent. I think Lee Shogi should have started this like 10 years ago, but they can always backfill. Shogi Wars, obviously, but Shogi Wars is the laziest shogi company that is out there. I'm hoping Hikaku is going to do that kind of stuff, even though they have fewer players. You know, they can lead the way. I really hope that Hikaku leads the way amongst Japanese shogi site developers, because they're pushing. You know, they're doing the work that I like. They're doing great stuff. Oh, magic based, interesting. You believe so you have all the Lee Shogi stuff downloaded. You know, the thing is. Yeah. You know, it's best. Yeah, having the data is fantastic. As I say, yeah, it's the higher order bit, as they say. Hey, for Dune on YouTube, Dune plays shogi, and Benjamin Shuett, hello. I hope it's not coming through. It's driving me nuts. I think my wife's iPad is alarming upstairs, and I can also hear the shower running. So I could either leave that alarm going off, and wait until she's done out of the shower, or I can just go up there like an animal and, you know, walk up there and touch it myself. This is sort of an interesting position. I'm watching as I'm blabbing, and it's almost like a slightly offset. The left side, it's like you take Danaka or Danako, and you slice it, and it's like someone took a knife through it and pushed this side of the board this way and pushed the other side of the board that way. So it's like a slightly offset Danaka, but it's cool. It's cool. Yeah, I'm cheering for Kevin. My brain is cheering for my brain is cheering for the static rook player. Naturally. As someone pointed out, Benjamin Shuett had pinged me on the Discord into the Ladies Pro channel, which I no longer follow. And to point out that Sato, not Sato, gosh, she'll always be Satomi to me. Fukuma was very close to playing an Urashino Ryu-like opening. She was very close to playing it was closer to Torizashi, but the opponent Nishiyama was Nishiyama 3 crowns, 1 game away from 4 crowns. She was in when I saw it, she was in opposing rook, the weakest, the weakest, the strongest of the Furibishas, but the weakest in spirit. And I assume she started 3rd file rook, but I couldn't find the Kifu, and I had deleted the Shogi Live app sort of in mini protest that nobody else knew about but myself. I deleted the Shogi Live app, and so I couldn't see the Kifu. And even if I had it, I think it was already past move 30, which is all they let you see. So my brain is so slow. I was about to say that bishop is a dead bishop. But anyway, she had the opportunity she had a very similar structure to Torizashi that all she had to do was pull the bishop back to 7-9, and it would have looked very much like one of my openings. One of the ways I used to play Torizashi. I don't think it's the optimal way. Engine wise, I know it's not the optimal way. Especially against that opposing rook, but it's not bad. It's not bad, and she did win the game. She did not play Torizashi. I suspect it was mostly the fear of Torizashi that caused Nishiyama Sensei to freak out. But it was interesting. It's interesting. I have to imagine that Fukuma, after her sort of recent, actually, I think she didn't pass the pro exam. I don't know, but I have to imagine those recent failures have her seriously questioning Nakabisha. I have to imagine, and even against Nishiyama, she had started. Even when I was playing Nakabisha, a couple years ago, she had started against Nishiyama, moving away from Nakabisha, and that's where a lot of my opposing rook theory came from. Is that the starting point was Fukuma's games against Nishiyama, and I adapted those into mine. And like I've said before, some of my biggest wins in my life came with that opposing rook that I built based off of Fukuma. And so it would have been really nice to see, me following her along, and then her, I'm guessing she saw my stream, so she's probably following me along, saying like, look, this guy jumped 4 ratings. This guy jumped 4 ratings in the course of a year or two, by moving from Nakabisha to Urashino Ryu and Torizashi. So she's thinking like, if he can move 4 levels, I can probably move a level or 2 by upgrading to Urashino Ryu. And that's my guess. So that's my guess. That's my guess as to what Fukuma's thought process is. Someone probably pointed out that there's this streamer out there who based his game on her repertoire, and recently jumped 4 ranks after switching to Urshino Ryu. So what else is going on? Benjamin Chewett. Hey, good day, Emperor X. Benjamin Chewett saying, come on, we need to downplay Mukai Bisha more. No, Mukai Bisha is a good we don't need to downplay it. It's not like it's going to get nerfed. So, that's the thing about Shogi. Shogi is never changing. Like, we can't even get our time controls to change. Shogi is never changing. So there's never going to be a nerf. So Mukai Bisha, I think, is always going to be strong for amateurs. Obviously a self-respecting professional won't play it. But as time goes on. But when I said I think it's the strongest of the Mukai Bisha, of the Furi Bishas, I'm not joking. I think it is. It's probably demonstrably the strongest. If we had an opening explorer with millions of games, we'd be able to see these things across ratings like on Lichess. But it's the weakest in spirit. The people who play Mukai Bisha are the weakest in spirit. Shots fired at Benjamin Chu. Shots fired at old me. I can act like a sophisticate because I moved away from it. Kojiro, great to see you. Thank you so much for uploading that video yesterday. Let me get a shill his video here. He posted his recent Tourney to King game. I think it was. It was not WSL. I think it was Tourney to King. And what am I doing here? And really enjoyable. So I went out to dinner last night and then came back and saw this video pop up, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna drink some coffee in the morning. I'm gonna make this I'm gonna schedule the watch of this game for myself, something to look forward to. I'm gonna make my coffee. I'm gonna watch this game, but I couldn't help myself. I watched the game, watched it all the way through. Didn't want to leave. Great game. Fascinating game, really good, as most of Koshiro's games are. If a Koshiro game is not fascinating, it's because he just crushed his opponent. So this was a very mutually interesting to someone at my level game. But a Snowpiercer, hello. That happened to you too. You went from like 4Q to Shodan in a month playing Urashino. Nice. Yeah, I mean that's why. So it makes sense that Fukuma would try to learn from my example or our example. It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense to me. And look, she won. She won. You could say that she won just on the threat of Torizashi or the threat of Urashino Ryu. She won against a legendary ladies professional, arguably the greatest. Arguably, I think Nishiyama. So I used to say that there was no argument that it was Fukuma was Satomi was the greatest ladies professional to ever live, and I didn't think there was much of an argument. I think the argument can be made now that Nishiyama, by virtue of the stuff that she has done in the proximity she's gotten to the pro game, like her pro skim, her pro exam results, and her sunken her third Dan league results, I think immediately could put Nishiyama up there, potentially higher. But anyway, what do I know? Koshiro. Now I'm seeing Koshiro's message. Can I delete this YouTube video? Can I delete the comment that I tried to shill Koshiro's video? Can I delete this? I take it all back. I'm not even going to dignify Koshiro's comment with a read. I'm not even going to read it. All right. I'm going to have to give me a second. I have to turn off this alarm. Okay, back. Hey, Surgebringer. Oh, so there hasn't been a move yet. Okay. So, in WSL, we've got 30-60. So they're in the thick of it, but they're playing fast. I think that's one of the things is sometimes it's hard to change gears when you get. I suspect, I'm theorizing because I have not played WSL, but I suspect it's hard to change gears from the usual online shogi mindset where even in a 15-60 game, those are relatively quick. And you don't want to dilly-dally on obvious moves in a 15-60 game because that 15-minute main time could be potentially useful somewhere, like if you want to take longer things. But 30-60 game, then people come into a 30-60 game and it's just, I think, knee-jerking, making fast moves. Really disappointed. I'm really disappointed in Koshiro. I'm really disappointed in these lies about Urashino Ryu. Just spreading falsehoods. Yeah, Killer Ducky. I didn't see Killer Duckies saying that the openings doesn't matter. Crowd is wrecked. That crowd has been. They wrecked themselves. They wrecked themselves. But yeah, like it seems, yeah, it's the I think for that argument to make sense, you have to be charitable in your interpretation of it, to say that it's not that openings don't matter, it's that Tsume and endgame matter so much more. And as a beginner looking to find that optimal learning path, which of course is different for every person, but to find the optimal general purpose learning path, I think the idea that you don't focus on your openings, it does, it makes some sense. It makes some sense, but that's just in isolation. It's hard to say because no one really knows what makes people good. And for some people, or I would say for most people, you have to be passionate to get better. You have to force yourself to get better, and you have to care about this stuff. And if you're not doing things that you enjoy, like how much more passionate and how much more is your brain going to be open to learning if you're doing things that you love? Like if you really are interested in openings, it's wow, interesting. This is not what I would have expected here. But yeah, maybe that is fine. Well, yeah, because he still has the knight backing. But anyway, yeah, I think I lost my train of thought. So you're gonna drop the silver or drop the knight first? I think drop the silver. Either way, it does. Not that the king is going to. I'm just staring at the board. I think it does allow the king to come out this way. No, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Well, drop the silver. He comes out this way. We drop the nut. If it was, no, no. I'm trying to figure out a way to get the king here. Trying to figure out a way to get the king here so that we could drop a silver here. Yeah, I think hoping that the king is going to go back into his corner. I think that's a little. I think considering the opponent is 2 down here, I think that's a little bit too much of a hope. And without a knight here, it's just it's rough. Can we trap the rook somehow? I don't care about the king. I'm rook hunting right here. I am rook hunting right here. We could drop a silver on 4-4. we if we wanted to go rook hunting, we could drop the silver on 4-4, which sort of a threat, right? Because then if the king takes, we get the fork. It does surround the king ish. Silver drop 6, James Zerk, silver drop 6-6, and silver drop 4-6 should be crushing tempo moves. So 6-6 would be, we're over here. So 6-6, 6-6. 6-6 looks good. 4-6, I will take your word for it. I don't like 4-6 because we're not because we've given up the rook hunt, which is always my. The rook hunt is my dream, but yeah. But 4-6, it's tempo, it is tempo. But doesn't 4-6 just allow the king to run? I mean, doesn't it take a piece away from? It allows the king to run later. Obviously, it's tempo. It's tempo because they're not going to just give up their rook. They can't run with both pieces or its mate on 5-5. Wait, 4-6. But we have no. I'm not understanding the 4-6 move still. This move, I think this 5-3 move is not surrounding the king. So I think that's the problem with it. It's not surrounding the king, and it's not threatening anything, because the rook, the king. So my take on this move is that you've just given the king a path. Like there's just you can't. I don't think you can surround the king with the check. You can't really surround the king by checking it with only silvers. Maybe that's wrong, but that's I think how I think about these things. So if it is wrong, I would love to know. But I was not at first. I was semi joking about 4-4, about silver drop 4-4, but it does prepare to surround the king. It ends this whole path. Person 4-6, 4-6. You just started playing. Oh, okay. Well, good to see you. Welcome to the channel. I'm just going to read what GM Zerk said in response. Before silver drop 4-3, silver 4-6, bishop takes 7-6. Promote horse takes 7-6. Force 4-6, bishop. Why would this, just to get rid of the knight? Silver drop 6-6. Oh, that you're preparing that rook. Yeah, I could see that. So it takes silver 4-6. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. That's deep. I mean, I would expect nothing less from a strong player. I'd expect nothing less. This has gotten interesting. The benefit of some of this stuff, even though there was this escape route, is that it's easy to blunder in a game of shogi. It's very easy to blunder, and I think Sente at least is giving Gote chances to make big mistakes, which I like. So anyway, welcome again. Person 4626, welcome to the channel. You've just started playing shogi, and so far you've gotten destroyed online. Everyone is so good. This is a known problem with shogi. It's difficult for a beginner to get involved in, but I would provide. Killer Ducky has already responded. I haven't read what he's said yet, but I would hand out this link to an intro that he's given. Talks about some of these things that start out. Thank you for the follow. This talks about some of the sites to sign up on. Some of the and those have increased over the year. Getting started with tutorials and things like that. It's a great intro guide. You know, it's obviously I believe in it. I've got a shortcut to it. Give this out to everyone. But yeah, players are very good. Lee Shogi has players that are very good. 81 Dojo has players that are very good, and some of the sites, the people who have a rating of lower level players are extremely strong. So it's tough. It is tough. Shogi Wars, like Killer Ducky says, it does have, in my experience, Shogi Wars does have more beginners. Hey, Edward Panko. Yeah, it's not Slovakia, unfortunately. But Shogi Wars does have beginners, but and they also have bots. The bots are not great, but they do have them. It's tough. You have to be willing to lose a lot in shogi. I think this is the same for games like Go, but you have to be willing to lose a lot to start out. It's just an unfortunate reality. And search for clubs. I would advise to search for local clubs if you can, because that's a lot of times a little more forgiving. Local clubs will also have strong players, but there will be beginners. In my experience at clubs, of the 3 shogi clubs that we have in the Bay Area in Northern California, 2 of them are extremely beginner friendly, like where we have had beginners show up and last, and we do handicap games if need be, or teaching games. Like there, two of the clubs are very welcome to beginners. The 3rd club, the San Francisco Shogi Club, is hardcore mode. It's hardcore mode, and not really for beginners. I don't think anyone could even sort of make an argument that it's friendly to beginners. But yeah. I see a Shogi Ladder. I see a Shogi Ladder mention in here from Surgebringer. That's great. Fordoon leads that, and it's a tremendous resource for people. You have to just play bots. So the problem is that the bots in the shogi world are not that great. though there's hope. There's hope. I mentioned it in the opening of this stream about this new site, Hikaku, which is, it's only in Japanese, but it's easy to use translate. You figure out what's going on. You know, I've streamed it once or twice so far, and we'll stream it again, so you could learn through those. But they have bots, and for the first time in my existence, it feels like the bots are actually human-like. This is based on the sample size of one game I played against a 3Q bot, which was incredibly impressive. So it's possible I just got lucky. But I'll be doing more, research on that. There's an application, a mobile application called Pio Shogi, P-I-Y-O Shogi. If you have an iPhone, it is localized into English, and it's a great app. And they have bots. They have sort of tiered bots that will take you up through the ranks, and they are okay if you're a chess player and you're used to the state of the art in chess in terms of bots and AI. You're going to be so sorely disappointed, but they're pretty good, and they're somewhat human-like to a certain level, and they can take you through the beginning, the basics, and highly recommended there. For me, I've done some speed runs. You could search my YouTube channel for it. There are speed runs where I play the bots from the beginning all the way up to some level, and they're good. They're good. This fairy stockfish suck. As Kuroducky says, it's okay for practice, but it just plays weird. Yeah. It plays weird. You get moves that no human would ever make. I think that's how some of that's how the sort of lesser bots work, like in the shogi world especially, and in the old days, the chess bots. There's they have a move, and then they just pick a bad move and make it. Rather than making sort of a move that has some sense to it, it's like, no, I'm just going to pick a bad move, and here it is. Or they just make it randomly. But the moves are not bad in a way that a human makes bad moves. So he's so the thing to keep in mind is that he's now dropped all his silvers. So now this is also a thing, I think. Well, no. This is still protecting. But I think being able to take this knight becomes a thing. So if he takes, where does he think the gold drop is going to go? That's the problem. Like, if he drops the gold here to protect the well, he can't because of the pawn, but like if he drops it here, then we just take, and now all the pieces again are all the pieces in hand are done, are there. And there's still this great horse defending. Yeah, I like this take. I think this take is I think this take works. Like, if he takes this knight, what are we going to do? Are we going to run, or are we going to take the knight? If he takes the knight, what are we going to do? Like, you can't really stop this. If he takes a knight, we take. I mean, I'm asking what we're gonna do. I basically want someone to tell me why we wouldn't take this. Yeah, there's no real stopping that. Yeah, the gold could come here, but is that a problem? Is that actually a problem? If he drops the gold back. So he drops the gold back. Take. And then we run in. You're not going to really be able to. You're not going to really be able to mate. Well, I mean, he does have the rook on the back rank. He does have the rook on the back rank. Hey, NinWorld. Yeah, Jim Zirk saying you can block with the gold, but then you don't have mating material. Yeah. You just have a bishop in hand and some pawns, but you do have this rook. You do have a rook. You do have a rook and a knight. He'll have a knight. I had said the knight. Oh, okay. This is I don't is it the same deal? So are we going to run this way? Or are we going to go... No. That's mate. No. Oh, no, it isn't. No, it isn't, because we still have the gold. Which is the safe? What's the safest way here? I think I probably would have run. I think I would have run this way. Good move by Sente. I'm still staring at it. You can't. Well, you can't. You can take. You can take. Can you? I think the tide is potentially turning here. I think the tide is potentially turning. I think defense in these positions, I think, is harder than offense. And like I said before, I think it's very easy to make a mistake. I think it would have been much harder to make a mistake running the king up this way. You know, that said, how are you going to surround the king? How are you going to surround the king now? This square is double defended. Guessing he's looking to take 7-6, take the pawn on 7-6. You open up that bishop diagonal, give another defensive piece. The horse is famously a great defensive piece. Is he going to go for a mate here of some sort? He's grabbing the silver. Got to be aware that this rook is here. Yeah, Shogi Brazil. Sensei's attack seems to have lost steam there. And it seems like it's very difficult to surround the king from here. So if Sente commits a gold to 4-3, are we going to do the two-piece exchange, or are we just going to run? I think running makes perfect sense. So while this is not a game featuring Slovakia, we do have a Slovakia viewer who just made a suggestion, which is the move that was played. Gold drop 4-5, king 3-3, pawn 3-5 was better than promoted silver 4-2. So instead of this, gold 4-5. Yeah, so this is interesting because this forces the king up. But is that not? So it forces the king up. Then we push to the side. Then we push to the side. King 3-3, pawn 3-5. So yeah, king 3-3. Pawn 3-5, and then push the pawn up. That's, yeah. So this is just, this is flat out not going to work. There's nothing surrounding the king on this side. Maybe are you preparing a gold drop over here? Maybe. I don't think that really works. And yeah, this is tough. So again, the question, if the gold is dropped on 4-3, I guess now we're not. Yeah, I guess we are forced to do the exchange. That would be a 3-for-1, but that would be a 3-for-1 exchange. Three generals for a single horse, and this guy is in trouble. That's just he only has one pawn. So do we drop in front or behind? Yeah, gold drop 4-4. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's 3 generals for a horse is a losing plan. I guess you could argue that you're also going to get a lance after the bishop drop. So after the exchange happens, the king is here, the bishop drop on 5-4, king runs, and then we take the lance. But regardless, I think that's not. Actually, no, you can't. You can't even drop the bishop there because this hero knight that I was talking about earlier is still watching that square. The thing is, this is tricky now because this pawn drop, this pawn, if this horse is displaced, it's mate. If this horse is displaced, yeah, as Trobak is saying, and then you get the gold. Exactly. So Trobak just pointed out what I'm trying to speak through is that this horse cannot be displaced. This horse cannot be displaced. That's smart. That's sneaky. That's sneaky. I like this. So what's our defense? What is our defense here? What's our defense? We cannot pull it all the way back because this comes and then it's still under attack. Even ignoring the fact that we just gave up a rook, which is the most important piece on the board. So what's he gonna do? Drop the silver here? Drop the silver on 4-2. Is that what he's grabbing for? Is that what he's grabbing for? Is that what he's reaching for? I'm trying to make I'm sort of trying to make knight drop on 5-1 work. I don't like that it blocks the rook. Knight jump 5-4 is a light defense. Wow. 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 Yeah, oops. Knight jump 5-4 is speaking of light defense, that video that I shared from Koshiro's game against Telmarch, I would say it features light defense is featured heavily in that game. I'm an idiot, so what do I know? Take my word with a grain of salt. But I think of it as masterful defense. Just masterful defense. But I don't think we're going to get a resign, but you sometimes see a resign in these positions. A king fork, I think is it's the most embarrassing feeling kind of moves to be put against you. The most, maybe I'm speaking too much of my own feelings, but like it feels very embarrassing and like not like embarrassment of what the other people, but like it's like humiliating to myself to be forked like that. Frustrating, like, didn't I see this? Didn't I see this? Oh, hello. He's going for the throat. Going for the throat. I was trying to see, like, is there any way to get I don't think there's any way, to get this going, but he must see it. He must see it, right? He's got 4 generals and another knight. Is there any hope for this? No, I guess no, because jumping here, I guess you could just drop you drop the gold. You drop the silver or the gold here to surround the king. To surround the king, defend the silver or the knight. Gold after gold drop 3/7. Bishop takes 3/7. King takes. Knight drop 4/5 has to be made. Oh, I'm guessing you said this before. It does feel like it. It does feel it has to be made. I think it's still a really nice find. Still a very nice bold move rather than just taking the free piece, eliminating all hope and just closing it out slowly. So this is where I'm guessing silver drop on 5/4 is my guess. That works. That works. That works. Yeah, that works. Does it? Yeah. Takes horseback. King. If the king runs here, we can just take the free rook. But what's the mate? Oh, okay. Gold drop is mate. Fun game. This was a fun one. Definitely a fun game. Oh boy. Wait. Am I misreading? Gold drop is mate. Gold drop 6/5. Well, horse 6/5 is a cute move. It wins the rook. The position is too good. You would lose by dropping all generals. Yeah, yeah. That's you're not wrong. The gold, gold is not mate because the horse is the knight is still free. The knight is still free. Take. So if he takes, gold drop is mate. Gold is not mate in one, but mate.
30秒 40秒
Good game. All right. That was fun. That was a great. So two really fun WSL games to watch. The past two. Congrats to both. Let's check that out. That was a Division A game, right? Or I mean B. Yeah, that was Division B. I mean, Division B has a 3Q. That's kind of amazing. I mean, he played better than a 3Q, I would say, but what am I trying to do? I'm trying to look at Division B. So we will take a look at Division B here. Let me change my scene. Japan 2 is leading. Poland 1, which this team... Wait, this was Poland 1, I believe. No, it wasn't. No. That must have been Poland 3. Yeah, Poland 3. So it's Great Britain. Again, as I said last time, we're still very early in the WSL season. But they were 4th. Poland 3 has been near the bottom. But a nice win. Let's check my let's check my predictions. I'm not sure if this is going to show up on stream. I'll have to give me a second here. It is not yet. I have my Division B predictions here, but let's switch to this. Okay, so my Division B predictions were Vietnam, Japan 2. Oh, I picked Poland 3 to finish 3rd. So I should have checked my predictions before so that I could cheer for the Furibisha player. So I could have been cheering for Poland. Aji Io, hello. You've been playing Urashino Ryu with good results thanks to me. Thank you for letting me know. Hey, Mr. 10x54, nice to see you too. Yeah, how more importantly than the results, how are you enjoying the games? How are you enjoying the Urashino Ryu games? The legendary ladies professional Fukuma Kana yesterday almost played Urashino Ryu / Torizashi. It's a real movement. This is the Urashino Ryu. This is a ground swelling. It's a movement. It's a movement. It's a time in history. You think it's easier for you to understand and break through? I agree. For that reason, I think it is a nice opening to learn because you get some principles that are useful in almost all the openings. You learn about things that you will need in other openings. Not that you can't learn these things in other openings, but to me, I had played thousands of games before Urashino Ryu, and there were things I learned almost immediately by playing Urashino Ryu that would have helped me tremendously in those previous 2, 3, 4,000 games that I had played. So, but these days I am a slow learner. These days, whether it's because of age or other things, who knows? But anyway, back to WSL. Let's get this up. Do I do half Mino or no castle more often? I never do half Mino. I hesitate to call it no castle, but I do the very light castle. It depends on what I'm going against. Against static rook, I'll usually have the gold. If I'm Sente, I'll usually have the gold on 7-8. The king potentially underneath it or whatever. It depends on how it evolves, but it'll usually be the one gold type deal with the other side defended by the other gold. But against Furibisha, where I'm doing Torizashi, it depends on what the opponent's doing. I'll typically have the 2 golds over on the left, potentially with one of the silvers over there on the left. Sometimes against static rook, if the other player is playing Bogeen, especially if they're Sente, end up doing sort of a Yagura type castle. Sometimes full Yagura, but like sort of a half Yagura. So it's you as you play more, you get a sense for the sort of castles that are useful in those situations, or more useful in those situations. And again, that's something that I think for me was helpful in learning, because rather than when I was an Akabisha player, it was let's make Mino, let's just make Mino, and you don't really think about it, you just do it. And eventually I started doing other things like Anaguma, like Furibisha Anaguma, and almost anything to avoid Mino, because Mino is, everyone knows how to break Mino, and it's pretty brittle against a lot of attacks, and I just I didn't enjoy playing Mino, but playing Urshin or Ryu sort of forced a focus on king mobility and understanding what squares are weak, what squares are not weak, how long you have to live, like that kind of stuff. So for me, I think it's all, both offensively and defensively, it's very educational. Sure, there are a lot of lost games. There are a lot of very quick losses playing Urshin or Ryu, as you're learning, and even as you've got a lot of experience in it. But I think those things are valuable to learn, and maybe it's easier to learn faster when you're getting crushed by something. So anyway, so we're here. Poland won. So I had picked Poland 3 to be third place. So where's Vietnam here? Vietnam is almost dead last, and they're my pick to win. Are they just not showing up? Are they just not playing? They lost to one of the months that Denmark showed up. No, they didn't. They won. They won against Denmark. They won against Denmark had their players. They lost to Japan. I don't know if they just didn't show up, or if I don't know these players either. They lost to Japan 3. They lost to Japan 2. And now they're okay. So it's early. Long story short, they've lost two 0-3 games to the two Japanese teams, which I'm guessing I didn't predict as highly for the Japan teams, just because I'm expecting them not to play all their games, based on the history of what I've seen in WSL, where some of these teams just don't show up every month. Interesting. So we'll see. It's early. Yeah. Let me get out of here. And there's a tournament to master game coming up. I don't know who this person is. There's a tournament the tournament to master game is going. Let's watch this. I don't know much about either of these players, but let's watch. We could have been watching from the beginning. So we've got Boat Castle, we've got opposing Rook. You think Sente missed Tsume when he went... Oh! Promoted Silver 7-3? If the knight was at 8-6, he could knight takes... VMD Ayaka, hello. I want to look at that. I want to look at that. I'm going to save that note. I want to look at it later. Pro Silver 7. Yeah, if the knight was at 8-6. Wouldn't the pawn have just taken the knight at 8-6? Look at this opening. People are telling me you can't just move your pieces the same way every game. You definitely can. I mean, fourth file rook is proof that you don't have to look at what the other opponent is doing, and you'll still be pretty okay. I think opposing rook it might be in that category as well. But I think that's a mistake. I honestly think that's to me though, that whole idea who am I to say? I'm a nobody. I'm not good at this game. And for the amount that I've played this game, I should be much better. So, there's no reason to take anything I say with any grains of any salt. But I think you're missing out with the mindset that I can just play fourth file rook and set it and forget it, to use the old Ron Popeil infomercial theme. I can play the same opening every game. I can play the same castle. I can play, I can do the same thing every game. But you're not learning anything by that. You're not really learning anything. So what is your motive? Like, what's the motivation to play? Like the idea I can get, and this was something I think I wanted to, when I started playing shogi. It was like, how do I get out of the opening? I think because I heard that from chess players often, and I think I just sort of in my brain mimicked that same thing of, oh yeah, I don't want to be tricked by people who know more opening. I just want to get out of the opening. But why? We're playing this. It's a game. It turns out that that's an aspect of the game that I really enjoy. But just because, on the grand scheme of things, it is probably more important. Almost certainly, but more important to be great at mate than great at the opening. That doesn't mean that thinking about the opening and trying new things in the opening is taking away from your improvement at the end game. If anything, during a game, you learn more. Like, if you think about your opening, you learn more about the opening in the middle game than you do in the end game. Like, I think arguably a shogi end game in a game is a demonstration of your ability. But the practice and the problems you do off the board and the study that the analysis that you do after the game, that's where you improve your end game off the board. You display your end game on the board. I think that I think it's somewhat flipped for openings, where if you go in with thinking about your opening, you learn by doing in the opening. You learn on the board, and you don't display off the board, so that breaks down a little bit. You also learn off the board, but you learn both on the board and you learn off the board. Maybe I'm overthinking it just because I really enjoy the opening. But like I tell you, those games I play over the board every week. I love all aspects of it, so it's not fair to say. But the opening, even though we play essentially the same structure of opening, my opponent and I have been playing, when I was a Nakabisha player, we played the same basic structure for a year of these Nakabisha, potentially opposing these Ai for Ibisha games. And now, since I switched to Torizashi, we've been playing for the past year and a half, 2 years, I don't know, basically the same structure of a game. But each game has evolved and changed subtly based on our own understanding, or based on things that we're trying off the board to maybe study and learn. And we've improved our skills. So every game is this fascinating, even though it seems like it's the same opening, and it is, every game is this like fascinating slight variation on the previous 50 games we've played. And I'm drinking my coffee, and the sun is making shadows on the pieces, and all that other good stuff is happening. But like, I have a blast. I love it. And it's what motivates me to a large extent to keep playing, is that I love that aspect so much. Jim Dirk, you say, you completely agree on the opening being a part of the game and learning more with it. He said, so you say having recently spammed Murata system in Central House every game. Well, that's the thing, is that, not to speak for you, but like, even if you spam Murata, I did see that you played Murata system. Where did I see that you played Murata system recently? I don't know why I would have seen one of your recent games. I think recently I've only seen you playing chess on Lichess. I just happened to be looking at Lichess, and the number one rated player, you were the number one rated player on Lichess playing at the moment. So in Lichess TV, I saw, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch these games. Oh, the U.S. Championship, probably. Yeah, that's probably it. But Koshiro also spams Murata system a lot. Lord Spoon, hello. It's going great. But even when spamming something, like, you could say, I'll just speak for myself. Like, someone would say, I'm spamming Urushi no Ryu, or I'm spamming Torizashi. And that's true. But that doesn't mean I'm doing it mindlessly. Sometimes I am. When I'm streaming, especially. Sometimes I am absolutely mindlessly doing things. But when I'm playing off stream, and when I'm playing especially over the board, there's no spamming there. I'm playing. I might be playing the same moves, but with intent and with thought and with question. Like, I'm questioning my moves as I'm making them, and I really enjoy it. Maybe it's because I'm older and because I'm not as good at this stuff. Maybe for someone who's great at these things, maybe it is spamming, because maybe once there's a word that I heard Josh Waitskin, of all people, use when he was describing a martial artist that he had observed training. I think he said, he called someone, I think you said, like, this person was the best low rep learner that he had ever seen. A low rep learner. So someone that learns very well with limited repetitions. And I think he had said this guy, like, learned or masters, like, with one rep. Like, I think he was calling him a one rep learner, something like that. And I think it was Josh Waitskin. But I think when I was younger, I was a low rep learner. But as I've gotten older, I am now very much not a one rep learner. And to a certain extent, I like as anyone who has followed, anyone who's following my stream, let's say you watch one of my streams a week for the past 2 years, you know that I am not a low rep learner anymore. It takes me a lot of time, a lot of reps to learn something. Koshiro must have been banging his head against the wall some of those streams where he'd teach me something and I'd learn it. And then the next stream, I would just forget it. And he'd have to teach it to me again. And eventually it stuck after more repetition. Some of the things he taught if that one, that one big win I had against some that San Francisco Shogi Club member in double Oniguma, that was amazing because he taught it to me one day and then I used it the next day and it worked. But I'm at this point I'm not resolute. I've made peace with the fact that I am now a high rep learner. But I love it. And at the end of the day, like I've said before, I am never going to be Meijin. I'm just not. I'm just not. So I better enjoy playing. And even if it means even if it means objectively, and I don't think it does, but even if it means that I do not grow my game as fast as my peers, or as fast as other Shogi Harbor members, or as fast as my club mates, I'm okay with that because I'm loving what I'm doing. And then if I'm not loving what I'm doing, then I'm gonna stop it because my living doesn't come from Shogi. I have no titles to defend. I have no face to save. I'm just doing it for those reasons. And I really think it does beginners and other Shogi lovers a disservice to talk down the opening so much. I still think it's objectively wrong that the opening is not important in Shogi. When people sometimes and they're probably being a little I can't remember the word. I forget words as I'm speaking on stream, but hyper something. It's you do have to it's you could say the end game isn't more important, and it is, but it's a lot easier to win games when you're not just blown out of the opening. It's just easier, when you're playing even games against people at your level. It's much easier to win those games if you haven't lost all your pieces and the opponent isn't promoted in your camp. It's great to spam Murata system when the pros meta is Gangi. So I didn't know that Murata system was sort of a direct response, not direct response, but is a counter. And I figured you were tongue in cheek when you said spamming, but you love it. I enjoy I still do study it on the side. I go through variations, or if you play it, or if Koshiro plays it. I'm looking. I'm thinking about it. It's I just still have so much fun in the openings I play, and I mix it in. I do mix it in. I do mix it in occasionally, especially over the board when I'm comfortable, a little more comfortable, not playing my very best. I'll use it. Hey, Origami Oniwa. But it's fun. It's really fun, and I love it. I love it as Gote. I think I love it as Gote, especially when I'm expecting a Furibisha player, because I like turning Murata system into that girl in the box kind of thing. That everything I know about this stuff I learned from Koshiro, but so it feels like I'm always redundantly saying that Koshiro taught. Gote is the second player. So you're 34. Ain't no way you're a low rep learner in Go. Yeah. 30. I'd kill to be 34. I might literally kill to be 34. but that's still, that is still, it's getting up there. it's still it's fascinating to me. Like 34 is Magnus Carlsen, I think, is 34, right? Magnus Carlsen's 34. He's still great. Isn't Habu, who is one game away from challenging for his 100th title, he's 55. Something seems wrong. Like every time I think that Shogi is the harder game, I start to wonder. I don't know. In 2020, I think there's just so much competition in the chess world that it really highlights the edges. But like in 2026, I don't think there's any 55-year-old of Magnus Carlsen will not be one of the top players when he's 55. Right? Having a 55-year-old in the top 10, and I'm not talking about Vishy Anand at 50 being in the top 10 because he hasn't played in years. Like an active player being in the top 10 at 55 years old, maybe he's just such an extreme outlier because because Habu is so talented. But I saw that and I'm like, what's going on? Like, jokes aside, I am younger than Habu. I joke about my age a lot. But I am younger than Habu. And I'm younger, I would say, by a lot than Habu. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to make of a 55-year-old in the top 10 in Shogi. I just don't know what that means. I don't know what to make of that. It almost doesn't compute in my brain. Although Gote's name is Napoleon, he's a German player. Yeah. Isn't that? It's funny. It's funny that the Napoleon with the German flag. James, everything you also learn from kosher. Yeah, this if you do not like Koshiro and you don't like if you dislike Koshiro and you dislike seeing Koshiro get praise, you probably do not like this channel. You probably don't like this channel. There's this set of Shogi Dad channel haters that are just out there. They're like, will this guy ever stop talking about Koshiro? And the answer is no. No, I never will. Never going to give him up. Never going to let him down. Yeah, people say that the Go openings are not important also, Lord Spoon, yeah. And I when I played Go, that is the approach that I followed. So my hero in Go was a KGS player named Dezomb, and Dezomb, and Dezomb played. Here's how to describe Dezomb's playing style. Is that his user bio on KGS was Go stones are hard and they taste bad. That basically describes his Go style. And so he played randomly in the opening, and I started doing the same. Not randomly. He'd play 5-6 or these weird moves, and then just sort of fight. And I took that to heart, and that's how I started playing. And And I did start improving. Actually, I got to a certain point and then I started improving. I only got to 2Q KGS max, but the Zomb was my go hero in the end. But these days, after engines, the go I'm as far as I hear on like podcasts and elsewhere, it seems like the Go world really did change after engines, and so there is a lot more theory, or there's a lot more known ways to play. Habu, Grocer was saying Habu is not from this world. Yeah, maybe that's just it. Maybe that's just it. I don't know, but I don't understand how someone 55 years old, knowing how I am at a number lower than that, and having worked with people who are at the top of their field, not that they're Habu level talents. They may be the best people I've ever worked with, and potentially some of the best people that anyone has worked with. But Habu potentially is the greatest of all time, or at least the second greatest. So yeah, it's a tough call. But 50, all that is to say, 55 is old, and Magnus Carlsen probably will not be at that level when he's 55. Gary Kasparov was not at that level when he's 55. Right? Or was he top 10? Was Kasparov still at a top 10 level? He's like 60 something now, right?
40秒
Hey Siri, how old is Gary Kasparov?
Gary Kasparov is 63 years old.
63. $63 young. He basically retired at 41, played some casual rapid. Yeah. Okay. So he didn't try to compete. Like it seems like he's one of those guys that cannot turn off the competition. Like when he competes, but yeah, okay. I see him play in the Chess 960 kind of events, and was it 3-4 years ago? Was he still playing in the? It feels to me like he was still playing in some classic like Grand Chess Tour events once or twice a year. Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe it was just Rapids. Yeah. Yeah, so Korchnoi is the thing. I didn't think that anyone in this channel. I should have known you would. I wasn't sure if anyone in this channel would know Korchnoi. Yeah. Yeah, at extreme age, he still was a highly competitive player. Yeah. Well, see, this is easy for you to say when you're young. This will be the first and only time that I discount anything that GM Zerk has to say. This is the first and only time when you say that you think it's just that players lose motivation to grind that hard. Because he's young. He's young. So he's discounting what the actual effect is. Like those are things that I used to think, like as for my career and my work, my hobby, things like that. I used to think that kind of thing too, that it's just motivation. It's just motivation and hard work. And to a certain extent, that's absolutely true. But I do think, and it's probably different for different people. Not probably, almost certainly it's different for different people. But there are changes. There are absolutely changes that take place over the years that I think I was not expecting to be a reality. I was not expecting to be a complete reality. I was expecting it to be sort of a minimal aspect of the reality. Wait, Chochi-kun is recently top 100? Top 100 in the world or just top 100 in Japan? Really? That's amazing. It's all the tea that he drinks. It's all the tea that he drinks. Edward Panko, you say that Ivanchuk is still goated. He's 57? Oh, Ivanchuk. Oh, Ivanchuk. Yeah. I for some reason I'm reading Ivanchuk and I'm thinking Grishuk. So okay, like, wow, that guy looks really good, especially considering he's a smoker. Like, wow, he looks really good for 57. But Ivanchuk looks pretty good for 57 too. Yeah. Yeah, so I think yeah, the tea that he steals. Stolen tea just tastes sweeter.
30秒
Yeah. Yeah, so Ivanchuk, I think is
40秒
I think a lot is like, I think like that contributes to the point that James Zirk was
50
making.
秒
It seems to me, well, I don't know, I can't speak to motivation in anyone's heart, but it seems to me that the love of the game has not minimized for Ivanchuk. It seems like the love of the game and the love of the work is still there. Fordoon is older than he's ever been. That's true. That's true. I will never be younger than I am now. I'm a young man. As far as I'm concerned, I'm a young man because I'm never going to be this young again. I think not to bring Brad Pitt into a shogi stream, or maybe I should be bringing Brad Pitt into more shogi streams. But didn't he say? Doesn't he have a quote about how
これより秒読みに入ります
how he approaches it is that like is he 60s? Is he in his 60s? But like how do you feel great at 60? It's like when I'm 94, I will wish that I feel like when I'm 64. I can't do it justice. I can't do it justice. But basically, you know, compare your current feelings to how you will feel 30 years from now.
40秒
Ivanchuk played 33 classical games in 32 days, so the passion is there. Yeah, that's awesome. It's so awesome. And listening to people talk about how they was it Rosen or someone else was having a wait, no, it was GM Zirk. It wasn't Eric Rosen, it was GM Zirk, right? Did you have a blog post about talking with Ivanchuk? Am I dreaming this? No. It was International Master Kostya Kavutsky. Sorry to Eric Rosen. Sorry to GM Zirk. Okay, it was yeah. As GM Zirk says now, it was Kostya Kavutsky. But you mentioned it. Okay. So that's why I'm thinking you did.
30秒
You wish it had been you. Gote dropped 2 minor pieces to force a rook for bishop trade. Yeah, that's whoever gets the rook wins. So I wasn't watching, I confess, but getting a rook in this position does seem like super strong. I think I would have dropped the lance first. Oh, he doesn't have the lance. He gave up everything for this rook. You might say that trade was his Waterloo.
30秒
You might say that trade was his Waterloo. Or, what yeah. Have I seen Shogi Ramen TV new piece evaluation after computer usage? No. Wait. Shogi Ramen TV, I haven't seen a new video from him in months. Are you saying that Shogi Ramen TV has created a new video? He did a post. The thing with YouTube, so this is something that, as a content creator, I have tried to make use of posts, but I don't understand the visibility rules for YouTube and posts. It seems like sometimes people see them, sometimes they don't. It's very unclear to me, such that I just stopped doing it, because it's like I have no way of knowing who or if anybody is even going to see this. I'm going through my sub list here to get Shogi Ramen TV. Like, there's no notification that there's anything new. Let me just share Shogi Ramen TV's channel.
40秒 50秒
Posts.
2
2 days ago. Okay, Sentei's castle looks like Muteki Gakoi.
6
Here's his value of each new piece has been changed by the Shogi engine. Oh, I'm going to see if I can share this. I'm going to see if I can share this. There it is. There's the share. Very cool. I'm definitely going to read and think about this. I'm trying to find back where I was. So I'm going to read that. I mean, if he doesn't say that the rook is the most important, then if the rook hasn't increased in importance
40秒
in his talk, then I discount everything, because the rook is if the rook increases in importance, then of course, I'm thinking, finally I'm vindicated. It has what? It has increased or decreased? Exactly. I mean, as expected. As expected. People have been laughing at me since I started streaming. People meme on me. People have laughed at me. But who's laughing now? Who's laughing now? People said that I rely too much on the engines. Everyone is using the engines now. Everyone's relying on the engines. People said that I overvalue the rooks. Those same engines and the great thinkers of the game are touting the importance of the rooks. People made fun of me for switching to your Urashino Ryu and Torizashi. They said it's weak. They said, and Satomi Kan, the greatest ladies professional of all time, is now on the verge of following me in this journey. So, I'm 3 for 3. As far as I'm concerned, I'm 3 for 3. The haters are gonna hate, but the haters are gonna hate, but they're gonna be being wrong. Justice for Knight? Wait, is this saying Lance is better than Knight? Wow. That seems like a very contextual decision, though. Like, obviously, all, like in chess and shogi, like all those kinds of relative piece evaluations are also relative to the position. But that seems to me to be a more that seems to me to be a more contextual thing. I mean, we've seen in that I Dream of Shogi video where, giving up early knights is not a
50
problem.
秒
And, I've seen enough in my games, because I hang knights left and right when I try to use them. And when I evaluate that later with the engine, those positions are often not all that bad. Even though I give up clean knights and things like that, the engine doesn't seem to care all that much. But Koshiro over here values the knights probably higher than any piece. So Koshiro is in shambles. Everything Koshiro has taught us has been a lie.
30秒
2 pawns better than a knight. Wow.
40秒
Let's after this game, let's actually look at that. Let's look at that together. I'm going to take a quick break. I need liquid. I need liquid, and I need to give space for more liquid. I'll be right back.
30秒 40秒 50秒 1、2、3、4、5、6、30秒 40秒 30秒
All right, back. Sorry for the delay. I was also thinking, oh, did it end? No.
30秒
The reason I asked is that one of the players disconnected and then entered back. There might also be a further way to look at those number. I wonder if this will get to there, or maybe this is just a nonsense theory, which is why I'm bringing it up and asking. But there are relative piece values, but I think some pieces, their piece value increases or decreases depending on how many you have in a hand. So like if a knight is worth 2 pieces or 2 pawns, let's say a knight is worth 2 pawns. But if you have 2 knights in hand, each knight is worth like
30
3 or
秒
4 pawns. So you get this multiplication factor where if a pawn is worth a pawn, the more pawns you have in hand at some point,
40 秒
the less value each pawn is. Yeah, truly, the knight is bad in the opening, but a monster in the end. Yeah. Though again, thanks to your help, yeah, I think a knight power grows exponentially over time, on the graph of time and number in hand. But again, things that Kotaro has taught. I guess you say bad in the opening. I think the way I've been playing, at least my Torizachi, the knight is becoming an important part of my opening. Which maybe it should have always been that way, but that doesn't mean it is objectively good. The fact that I'm using it, but anyway, Kotaro is known knight lover.
40秒
I tell you, people are going to be studying my streams.
50秒
Shogi historians are going to be studying my streams, 20, 30 years from now. And they're going to be like, this guy was right about absolutely everything. This gaijin was correct about everything. Oh boy. Wait, what? Wait, hold on. That's mate. Wait, what just happened? I wasn't looking at the board. Was it mate anyway? But congrats there. $14.60. $14.60 is Showdown now? GG. Okay, so let's look at that thing. Let's look at the post. I'm gonna take this into incognito mode. I'm in incognito mode, so I can't like it. That's why it's not showing as liked. Yeah, Killer Ducky. Yeah, Killer Ducky sounding truly like an old man. In my day. Yeah, 3 knights is basically infinite anyway. Yeah, 3 knights means there must be checkmate. Yeah, 81 Dojo did a, I like the thought that Hidechi puts into the rating system, even if maybe there are mistakes. I like his thought in it, and some areas of it deflated, some inflated. And in the end, I think it's for the better. All his decisions there are for the good of the site. I think his recent decision to drop 0.30 and drop 5.30 as time controls in favor of that quirky, to say the least, 6 Sigma, or I can't remember what it's called. The new time control that he invented. I think that's a really disappointing to me, because I like 5.30, I like 0.30, and the San Francisco Shogi Club every month plays 5.30. I have no interest in playing that sort of fake short 2. I can't remember what he calls it. I can never remember. It's like 6. It's not 6 shooter. It's not 6. It's not pick 6. Something 6. All right. So anyway, before the Shogi engines, rook equal. Whoa. Wait, people said this? I guess, I mean, maybe people did. You know, I've always been right. But okay, so bishop before the Shogi engines, rook equals a bishop, which is greater than a gold, which equals a silver, which is greater than a knight, which is equal to a lance, which is greater than a pawn. Okay, so my take is, so what I'm expecting to see, rook is greater than, I'd say significantly greater, but greater than a bishop, which is greater than a gold, which is greater than a silver, which is greater than a lance, which is greater than a knight, which is greater than a pawn. You know, much greater than a pawn. Even if it's only worth 2, it's double is much greater. So again, I think a rook is much greater than a bishop, which is much greater than a gold. No. Rook is much greater than a bishop, I will say, which is greater than a gold, which is greater than a silver, which is greater than a lance, not much greater, which is greater than a knight, which is much greater than a pawn. That's my take. Rook is greater than a bishop, equals a gold, greater than a knight. Wait, did I say equal gold? No. I think I backed it down to just greater than. Greater than a silver, greater than a lance, which is equal to 2 pawns, which is greater than a knight, which is greater than a pawn. So even the lance is only equal to 2 pawns. Wait, so two pawns are greater than a knight in this. Wow. So Shogi Ramen TV, this. Outside of the 2 pawn value, none of this is a surprise to me, but of course it's not a surprise to me because I am daily using the engine. So this is the eval from the engines. So of course none of this is surprising to me because I think either consciously or unconsciously, I base my evaluation on my evaluation of my games with the engine. So this is not surprising to me. This is not surprising to me. This is not surprising to me. I think even this, if I would have thought longer, I think this is probably what I would have put. Just based on how I see strong players playing, if anything else. Not even talking about the engine suggestions. Like, you see this every day, the importance of the gold. And how it's so common to trade off bishops for golds. Great post. I look forward to logging in later and liking this post. Before doing, yeah, 5:30 is a great time control. I really don't understand. I think 0:30 is a great time control. To my Neanderthal tastes, and I think if I have, I don't know if I have that at hand to be able to get my time control tier lists. I think 0:30 and 5:30 are both better than 10:30. To me. Yeah. So there's nothing remaining on 81 Dojo like 0:30. Like, I think that's a special time control. You know, I'm also partial to it because Utsunomiya Shogi Club plays 0:30 in all their streamed video, or all their videos, you know, their club videos over the board. And it's just a great time control. Like, it makes sense. You just have 30 seconds per move. 30 seconds per move. It's almost as simple as it can get. Almost as simple as you can get. We need to try to compromise with the Byoyomi people by bringing short 30. Wait, by pushing. Wait, what would short 30 be? There's short 2. What would short 30 be? Well, short 3 is Fisher 5 plus 5. Short 2 is 30-second delay, 60-second. Short 2 is, in chess terms, game in 1, delay 30. Short 3. So, yeah, I'll type this out. You tried the new format. You felt you were unnecessarily rushing yourself. Well, I definitely was. When I tried it on stream, I definitely was, because you have to mentally manage your 10-second slots. You have to mentally manage those. And there's no time, there's no auditory, there's no audio cue for those slots. So it's like, and by managing those slots, I mean, I'm trying to make the move on 51 or 41 or 31 or 21 so that it doesn't go lower, so that I don't lose another 10 seconds. So it's this mental management of something that shouldn't be required, and there are no audio cues for any of it. And most importantly to me is that no clocks support this. No physical clocks support this time control, which is the main downside of it. But I think one of the greatest things about 030, besides just being a good time control, is that it's so easy to explain. 030. You have 30 seconds per move. That's it. It's easy to set up on shogi clocks. It's easy to explain. It's just I think to me it's just flat out reasonable. But anyway, Killer Ducky, if you're back, yeah, short 2 is the chess is game in 1, game in 60 seconds, delay of 30, and short 3 is Fisher 5 plus 5, if I remember correctly, using the Shogi Club 24 naming. Man, this is fascinating. This is fascinating. I was right all along. Maybe people will be hesitant to doubt me from now on. Maybe. The funny thing is that back in the day, I don't know if this is still the same, but I distinctly recall the explicit recommendation to beginners was to play 5-minute, 30-second games, because you have some time to think, but the games move quick enough that you get more games. Because it's more important when you're starting to play. It's more important to play. But 5:30 is a nice thing where you play a lot of games, but you have plenty of time to think and you don't feel pressured. So I think for that reason it was almost universally recommended as the time control to start out with. You need a policy to follow rather than shooting from the hip. For what? For evaluating pieces. Your policy. So if this stream has shown anything, it's that anyone's policy on piece evaluation should be think whatever the Shogi Dad tells you to think. That's the new thing, and I'm gonna start parlaying this into fields outside of Shogi, and don't worry if you don't like thinking, I will tell you how to think. Shogi Dad will tell you how to think. So I'm accepting comments about things outside Shogi too. If you have any questions about Shogi or about life, leave them in the comments after you like and subscribe. After you like the video and subscribe to the channel, ask your question, and I will tell you what to think. What else? We have nothing else going on now. One thing I did want to check. So I wanted to show. Okay, we're in the theme. So this is the new update. This is the new update. I was talking as the stream started. I was praising Hikaku and talking about how they are really, they're active. They are actively developing the site and the software, and they made among other things a nice change to their eval window. Oh, for managing the new time control. Yeah, I mean my policy is just I'm not going to play it, but yeah, I think it really requires some sort of mental policy. So before, I wish I had a shot, a before shot. We do have I guess I could have dug up my previous stream to show, but if you recall, I actually said that this was not interactive, and that I wish there was a way to click through the variations and put them on the board and go back. Fast forward 5 days, and they've done that. The boffins over at Hikaku have done that. You can see the graph is still here. You could still click through to go to that position on the graph, but what is displayed here is excellent. It's the eval. It's the eval with best play, aka where we are, and I love how they're showing this. So the graph is shown before you make your move. The inflection. So as Sente here, I think I played. Yeah. So this is where I played the engine. The engine. This is where I played the 3Q bot. Here we are, and the eval is for this position is plus 828. What this shows is the move I played, which is pawn 1-6. The arrow is shown in gray. Pawn 1-6. That eval is plus 335. So, the actual eval is plus 828. The move that I made is plus 335, aka I lost 500 points of eval. And then it shows the top moves. So under the move I played, it shows the top move, which is drawn with a green arrow. 2-4 pawn is the top move, and I think I'm kicking myself when I saw this. And that's 828. You can click it to expand the variation to show how this works. You can click. Wait. You click this move. I swear I clicked it. Oh, this is how. So you push that button. You push this button to go in there. Let me translate. Let me show what that translation says. I don't recall what that says. Reboard. Okay, well it's a rough translation, but this puts it on the board. And now you can click through here, or you can use the keys left and right to go through, and it'll show you this eval for plus, why this is a plus. Oh, and there's a button to go back, and that button will go back. So there's all the things that I asked for, they've put in there. So we see that. Or we can go to 6-9 king or 4-6 bishop, which are the second and third best moves at 5-16 and 4-11. Plus 5-16 and 4-11. The move I made was plus 335. But there's still no in-game eval. All these evals are computed at the moment the game ends. But it's fast, it's easy to use, it looks good, and I am guessing it's the first of much more to come, and I'm really excited about it. Lord Spoon, you say, is the AI sensei for shogi? This is the AI. Well, this is AI eval. I wouldn't call it sensei. It's giving you the variations. It's giving you the top variations, and just to be clear, it isn't like Lee Shogi doesn't already have this. And it isn't like Lee Shogi doesn't already do this better. I think Lee Shogi has this and more and does it better. But I think this is excellent. I think this is just because Lee Shogi is amazing doesn't mean that this isn't also excellent. So I am really excited about this. I think it looks great. Obviously, it's not dark mode, and I'm sort of a dark mode bigot, but this is good. Forwarding, you say, though the shogi community is small, we're not in short supply of people ready to tell you how to think. Yes, and add one to. Well, see, the benefit now is that now there's no question. Now you just think what I think. So now, in a way, things have gotten simpler. So rather than the chaos of having all these different voices telling you what to think and how to think, now you just need one person. Now you just need one. It's one stop shopping for your brain. The Shogi Dad channel is one stop shopping for your brain. I think that's going to be the new slogan. Thank you, Shogi Ramen TV for vindicating me, for creating a new movement. Shogi Ramen TV has unwittingly created a new movement for the future. This is AI Sensei, but of one of your games. I don't AI Sensei. I think I've heard of this in the Starpoint Go podcast. Yeah. So we don't necessarily have AI Sensei. This is similar. This is similar, but I am going to imagine that this is much more sophisticated, and that AI Sensei is much more sophisticated. It's a tool for this, of course, and that it has a lot more options. But this is a starting point. This is a starting point for this, and maybe we'll get there on Hikaku. Just to share this site again. I feel like I'm shilling things more often these days. I assure you, in case anyone wasn't clear, I assure you I get nothing from any of these sites that I'm talking up. I get nothing, literally nothing. No responses, no. But I'm just happy to see this level of polish and development happening, because shogi software is, outside of Lee Shogi, is rather disappointing to me, a sort of a software guy. So there's that. Oh, one thing I did want to look at is just to see how many bots. Let's translate this. What does this say? Maintenance will be formed on 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Monday the 20th. On May 20th. May 20th. That's tomorrow, but that is that now? Did that already happen? It's 6 a.m. on the 20th. So let's see what time it is in Japan right now. It is, okay, so it's 4:15 right now a.m. in Japan. So I think in the next 2 hours, the site is going to have maintenance. which means I guess they're going to maybe add even more features, which is kind of cool. We'll see. We'll see. I wanted to look at the rating match room, or the match room here. I want to see the bots. Display the bots. Okay, so there are 6th and 7th grade bots. There are no worse than that. Okay, so one of these days, I am going to try to do. I'm going to do a bot speed run on Hikaku. I want to try these. I was so impressed with the 3Q bot. I guess now it's so these bots are subject to the same rating system. So it was 3Q when I beat it. Now it's 2Q. So, it got some more wins. That's how that works. I'm curious why it translates sometimes to second class versus grade. Yeah, this is second Q, but 5th Q also. But anyway, so there's that. One thing to note right now, which is kind of, it's 4 a.m. in Japan, but I have not been challenged. So, it has proven to be somewhat difficult to get a game with humans on the site. But that's changing. And once Japan is alive or awake, I'm sure there will be more players. But it'll be interesting to see. So there's a game going right now. These are I don't quite love this shadow here. Oh, let me turn off the translation. This piece shadow I think looks rough, but like these are strong players. This is a 6 dan and a 5 dan. The text is small. No, the 6Q and a 5Q. It's a 6Q and a 5Q. Okay, so it's not a 6 and a 5 dan. Sorry. This right now on my screen. It's probably on the video too, but this is really small to my eyes. But anyway, that's what's going on there. That's what's going on there. Really, really, really promising stuff to me. So yeah. You don't really delve into AI too much in the Go world because AIs that would calculate in a way that humans can't for Go. Is that true? The Go AIs are not brute forcing anything. They're not doing like insane depth searching. The responses from the AI come out like instantly. The Go AIs I've seen, they come out instantly, and I think they're even aren't they even called like one ply? Aren't they even called like one ply evaluations? Some of them. Like if you're gonna try to kill a dragon or try to kill something, like sure, there's gonna be some high depth there. But the same thing I think could be said with Shogi is that the point is to learn what the engine is trying to do. And sometimes you can learn from that. Sometimes you see that, oh, this decision is probably dependent on this 27 move sequence that I will never be able to replicate. In which case, it's like you don't learn as much from that move. But I think that's yeah. It's the same thing in shogi. Like shogi and chess, humans are just not going to compete with them. They're way better. But that doesn't mean you can't learn from them. Yeah, yeah, you can learn, and I think as one uses the engine more, at least this is in my experience, as one uses the engine more, you learn more and more where to listen and where to ignore. You know, same thing with, I mean, I think you can argue that's the same thing with human teachers. You know, some things that human teachers might push on a student, especially depending on the quality of the teacher. You might be useful, some might not be, or some might be counterintuitive. I'm going to try to play a 10-second game here. I want to not lose by time today on 81 Dojo. So that's the only thing I care about, is not losing on time today. So I'm going to try to make my moves by 7. I don't want to be hit by that. I hesitate to call it a bug, but it feels like a bug where it takes a long time to make a promoted move sometimes. And I was actually in the shower this morning. I was speculating that it's the first promotion of the game that takes a long time, where it's sort of like caching the image or fetching the image or doing something that slows that down, and it slows it enough such that I sometimes time out. So I like to look at the engine to find my small mistakes a lot of times. I'm a lot of times paying attention to the small mistakes more than I am the big mistakes. Because a lot of times the big mistakes I can figure out myself. The small mistakes lead me down a path to figuring out where I have a fundamental misunderstanding of a position. So a lot of times, I'll be in a good position, and then for the next 4 moves, I'll spend bleeding equity for each of those moves, which I take as an indicator that I have almost fundamentally misunderstood the position. And sure, I'm not like losing, but I'm misunderstanding what my point is. And those are the points that I spend more time on when I'm reviewing with an engine. So, the way I approach the engines in Shogi, it's changed quite a bit over the past couple of years. It's still evolving, but it's just something I enjoy doing. It's also something I enjoy doing. All right. Well, maybe I'm not going to get a game here. I've been talking so much. So dry. My throat is so dry. And there's certainly variations. So the thing, what I don't necessarily look at the eval for some of those small mistakes, what I call small mistakes. The engine will not even call them mistakes, or the interpretation of these engine equity losing moves are not even mistakes. They're fine. They're not mistakes at all. But to me, when I do 4 or 5 of those in a row, the whole thing is, like I said, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of the position from the point at which I started blundering, or the point at which I started bleeding equity. And I find it very useful to look for those sequences where it's like, I'm just where it's small. None of them. If you search for the mistakes, you won't find any. But it's just like, the graph is just slightly going across 4 or 5 moves. It's just slightly going down. Like that to me is that's a lot of times what I'm looking for, especially in the opening. because which is a lot. The opening and middle game is a lot of what I do review. The end game is worth looking at, of course, but I can also get a lot of that out of Tsume problems, and it's harder for me to sometimes make sense of the end game because the engine is so strong and has full vision. So a lot of times it's harder for me to use the engine for the end game because everything it suggests for the end game is in full recognition that it has perfect vision. Whereas in the opening, that is attainable. Like, having vision is sort of attainable. But I could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong. That's just how I've noticed in spectating on 81 Dojo lately as well that I'm not seeing many people playing 10-second games. So I wonder if there was when Hidechi made it rated, we saw this sort of explosion of games, or at least relative explosion of 10-second games. I wonder if that's backed off. I've been on stream, I've been struggling to get 10-second games, and yeah. Let me go to Lee Shogi. Let's see what's going on there. Always these anonymous players. Lots of anonymous players. Ooh, Kenichiwa has a study. Fuji God moves. I hope that's an indicator that we're getting a video. So when I see that Kenichiwa creates studies, I don't look at the studies because I don't want to spoil myself. I interpret that as meaning that that we're going to be getting a new video from him. And so I just get excited. Also, the other day, I apologize for not putting 2 and 2 together. When I was on Lee Shogi and Kenichiwa and Foradun were playing games on Lee Shogi, I was thinking like, wow, Lee Shogi is getting more people. But 81 Dojo was down for North America, at least. So that's why they were there. I was thinking like, oh, they're starting to play more on Lee Shogi. No. All right. Well, maybe that's going to be it. Maybe that's going to be it for today. We won't see any of my pitiful play. No one wants to play me, and there's just sort of these anonymous people on Lee Shogi. Do you find that there is a problem that there are too many Western servers for Shogi? There are not. There's only one. There's only one Western server for Shogi. There's Lee Shogi, which is the best, which is almost objectively the best Shogi server, except for the fact that it doesn't have as many players. That's the downside. But I don't think in the West we have any Shogi servers. Everything else is in Japan. 81 Dojo, Shogi Wars, Shogi Quest, Hikaku. There's a new app coming in the near future. They're all Japanese, understandably, because that's where all the players are. But Lee Shogi, I think if Lee Shogi was made in Japan and ran in Japan, I think this would become the #1 site there. I definitely do. I think it's just so much more capable than everything else, and clean. It's the author has done an amazing job, especially if they get rid of the variant stuff, which I think just pollutes the site. It was just clean. It was just shogi, and if it was made by Japanese people, I think it would get much more traction. But it is gaining traction. It's gaining traction, and it's just slowly. But it's still a great software. All right. Well, no one is challenging me. I'll close my challenge, my open challenge, and step away with my tail between my legs and say thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. We've had some really congrats to the people who played today. Those were great games to spectate and fun games to talk about. Thank you to Shogi Ramen TV for that thought-provoking post. And I look forward to seeing you all in the future. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. I'm going to try to find my OBS window. There it is. Okay. Bye.